Hi, I'm Walaa from Jordan. I work in the child protection sector since around 14 years. I have experience in the humanitarian sector, focusing on child protection and education for children. I worked for different national and international organizations here in Jordan and covering the Iraqis and Syrians crisis. This is my background regarding child protection.
Excellent. And so you've done this job for 14 years. Where are you if you said you're working primarily with the Syrian and Iraqi refugees. So are you located more on that side of the country bordering Syria and Iraq, or where are you in Jordan?
Yeah, no, I work in whole Jordan, in
All of
all of the governorates in Jordan. Yes.
Okay. And and can you please explain to us how, so is child protection a government mandate in Jordan? Are there laws, or is it more in NGOs that set up establish how it's done? So how does it work in Jordan?
In Jordan, we have collaboration between the government and the NGOs and even local or national CBOs. But we have a family protection department under the general police. They are responsible for the child protection in Jordan. They are the official entity that's responsible for the child protection issues.
So this is a police force?
Yes,
A
yes.
police force.
It's
Okay.
under the Ministry of Interior, yes.
Under the and what is there a particular law in child protection, and what does the law state? What is under the umbrella of protection for children in Jordan?
They are responsible also for the juveniles centers. They are responsible for receiving the incident reports from the community regarding child protection, if there's any concern related to the child protection and family protection also.
Okay. So can you give us examples of what is considered child protection in Jordan? Like, what are the incidents that people call from the community that
Yes.
would, yeah.
Yes, it's related to child labor, child marriage, any abuse or violence against children. So anything related to the child protection, any concern inside the community or any child can face, considered as a child protection in Jordan.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's related to the best interest of the children.
Okay, and that's so it's in the law. You have police force, and where do you fit in the system?
هلا the national and international NGOs we provide support in the system strengthening. We provide support for the capacity building for the staff and for sure the funding to rehabilitate or renovate the child friendly centers because they conduct interviews with children, the vulnerable children inside these centers. So the NGOs equipped these centers with the friendly tools for those children.
Okay, okay, and so can you give us some examples or a sense of the types of protection cases you've worked with or you've worked on?
Yes.
Yeah.
هلا I worked in different projects. هلا the main of the projects the main focus of the project was case management. So we used to conduct comprehensive case management. So because of that, we received too many cases, including sexual abuse, child labor, child marriage, dropped out from school, and يعني also we faced مثلا the worst force of child labor and combination of different abuse or violence against children.
Okay, so you would get you said lots of those types of cases. and you said too much. What was the caseload numbers that you had to
هلا
manage?
هلا because of especially at the first of the crisis هلا as you know they come from the borders walk يعني they come with their families, no shelter, no protection, so yes we receive يعني huge amount at the first of the crisis, especially the يعني psychosocial issues also for those children and يعني yes we receive a huge amount of cases at the first of the crisis. With the time, no, that number reduced because of the intervention from the governments and the NGOs, and also the people themselves became more aware about the services, where to go, and how to overcome these consequences.
I see. And how do you, so it sounds like um, the types of cases you managed are quite similar to other child protection systems in the around the world that I've spoken to people from around other countries. So it's particular to this region. I'm hearing that child marriage is an issue. So that's kind of unique to this region that I'm hearing. But you've dealt with physical, child labor, sexual abuse, violence. How do you? So these are families that are fled war. How do you work with? How do you do that? How do you work with those families where um, they fled war and now they come to Jordan and you have to meet with them? How do you do that?
هلا it's around now 12 years ago when the crisis started. هلا at the first there's specialized organizations working with those people as a, yeah, let's say first line of intervention. هلا they have for sure psychologists who meet the children and their families. Then we have also case managers who assess their situation, who meet them and conduct case management for them, and then refer them to the required and available services based on their needs.
Okay, so it sounds like it's service based, um, that the focus is on helping them with the issues. What if they refuse the help?
هلا at the first no they don't refuse because already they came to Jordan أصلا seeking for support, so it's
Okay.
it's the natural to find يعني to seek for any available services that can help them and their families to cope and to stay in Jordan in a safe spaces and
I
safe
see.
environments.
I see. What about situations where there's a child marriage and is it against the line? It's against the line in Jordan. What's the age in Jordan?
هلا recently the Jordan law changed the law to be like it's mandatory to be 18 years old, and there's exceptional cases for 15 and above years old. You know, it's related to the children best interest, and if there is any situation that's يعني it's under investigation, and they conduct investigation to measure if the situation forced that child to marry up, but before 15 years old, no,
Okay.
it's not allowed.
Okay, so you're saying 18 is the legal age, but
Yes,
circumstances allow for 15, but special circumstances.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So how do you, so what if a family is, or it's a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old? How do you work with that if they say, yeah, no, this is what we do in our culture? How do you work with that?
هلا by law they cannot register the marriage at that age. هلا for us we report for family protection department because it's related to the best interest of this child, so we report for family protection department and they deal with such cases.
Okay. So what are some other cases that you would report to the family protection unit that you would come across?
هلا All the cases that families refuse to to collaborate with us regarding these cases, like child labor, like if there is a child out of school and his or her caregivers refuse to re-enroll her or him to the school, we refer that back to Family Protection Department, for sure, after conducting awareness raising, trying with them and providing all the facilitation that they might need to re-enroll that child.
Okay. So this is fascinating. This is it seems to me that in the Middle East region, child protection is divided into two sections. There's the front end social workers like yourself who will work with families, but if it doesn't work out or if they refuse, it gets referred to almost like a police.
Official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and okay. Where in the West, for example, where I'm from in Canada, it doesn't work like that. It's just one unit that manages it all. So so it's quite fascinating that that your system is done in that way. So how often do you have to refer to the family to that unit? Is it often or not so much? People typically.
No. It's not major. Sometimes the awareness raising and also families became aware that this is the next step, so they directly being supportive for any services that or for any decisions the social worker decide to take for this child. So they afraid from referring to Family Protection Department, and they say yes and allow that children to receive the services.
I see.
But sometimes it's complicated because مثلا because of that child might not have responsible caregiver, and his issue might be from inside the community, like bullying, like something or it's something that's danger more than bullying. So we refer back to the Family Protection Department, and they take the lead at these cases.
In the Family Protection Department, you said are police officers or police officers and social workers?
No, they there's focal point from Ministry of Social Development, social workers who meet the children and the families to assess their situation. No, it's not police. It's child-friendly spaces and women-friendly spaces because they receive also women cases.
I see. In the women cases, what type of cases do they receive that involve women?
All type of cases, like it's the same inside her family. If there is a danger on her life, if she has no place to go with her children, they provide her with a shelter. Something like that. Violence, abuse. Yes.
Okay, I see. Okay, so now I think I have a better picture of. So your work involved was working with the refugees. If it on a voluntary basis, managing the issues that you talked about. However, if they refuse or if it was serious, you would refer to the family unit. Yeah,
Yes.
I get. And okay. And so you said you've done this for 14 or you said 12 years ago. Is this currently what you're doing as well, or are you doing something different now?
No, yes. My last recent job was also child protection and education project manager. So we were working with the communities to identify dropped out children and re-enroll them in the formal and non-formal educational pathway, starting from the case management services.
I see. And have you ever worked with so you've worked with the refugees. Have you ever worked with the populations within Jordanian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Okay.
projects in Jordan, it's mandatory to have 30% local communities and 70% refugees. So in all the projects, yes, we have target for Jordanian beneficiaries.
I see. And working, you also had cases, like a caseload with Jordanian children?
Yes.
Yeah, same issues that you talked about?
Y- yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. What, so doing your job, and you've done it for a long time, what what were the challenges or the difficulties of doing that job?
For child protection especially, that sometimes the beliefs of the community members, especially about child labor. يعني the families believe that when you send your child to work, that will affect positively his personality, and that will build his personality and prepare him for the future, like to be a man, not to get these skills. But يعني sometimes they ignore, or they are not aware about if this child already يعني ready يعني to have this load or not. Yes, this is one of the challenges. Sometimes the lack of services also. لا. We are working based on projects and fund from the donors. So sometimes we identify cases, but we cannot refer them to the required services. So this one of the challenges also. And sometimes the policies also, especially for مثلا Ministry of Education, the law or the procedures that you can re-enroll the children at the first of the academic year. Otherwise, he can attend the classes, but will not pass that year, and he need to repeat that year again. And we face here an issue with the families that they said, no, I will waste my children time, and I waste my money also for transportation and daily fees. And at the end, he will repeat that year. So this is the main challenges that we face.
And okay, so what are the ages that you've come across where kids are sent to work? Like what are the ages that would concern you?
Sorry again?
So you said there are families where they send their young kids to work.
Yes,
How
yes.
old are these kids that they take out of school and send them to work?
Sometimes they don't drop out from school. They only attend the school, and then after the school they work, or during the holidays. But يعني you find all the ages. It's not depend on the age, and it's sometimes yes, you find very young children drop out from school and working, especially in the agriculture sector. And yes, يعني different ages, all the age group are targeted for child labor.
Okay. And this is what leads I don't want to assume or guess, but why do parents take their kids out of school or have them work? Is it financial only? You said it's also so they grow
No,
up
no.
to learn to be men.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you
Yes,
tell us more
sometimes
about?
yes, it's because they support their families in the income, but
Okay.
sometimes no, it's only a tradition that he need to be stronger, need to be aware about the community and how to deal with others outside, and how to be open-minded, and or to يعني to gain experiences from the adults, let's say.
Interesting. Okay, so this is the first I'm hearing of it. So it's not only financial,
No, no.
it's also you're saying it's a belief that it will help the boy, and it's only boys, no girls.
Only yes, it's only boys, and it's common here in Jordan. يعني this
Oh,
is the main reason. Yes. هلا sometimes they don't drop out. As I said, they
yeah.
attend the school, and after during the holidays they go. They prefer that rather than مثلا the like engaging with the technology and with the social media, and they see no, they can benefit from this work during the holiday, and they become responsible.
Okay. So quite interesting. So for example, here in Canada, yeah, we have kids after school who have a job. So they'll work,
Mhm.
let's say, at a store to earn some money, and it's okay, it's legal. what makes it a problem, and when does it become a problem in Jordan?
هلا it's not legal because هلا it's depend. هلا it's legal if he works with his father مثلا, or with supervision from an trusted adult.
Okay.
But sometimes, yes, sometimes they work alone with the strangers. So this is the issue that we face.
Okay.
And
So
sometimes أصلا they experience violence and abuse, and they work long hours and hard work and worst form of child labor, let's say. So this is the issue, not working with their parents or under supervision and under
I see.
trusted. Yeah.
Okay. So it's okay in Jordan. It's okay if a child, a teenager, goes to school and then has a part-time job after school or on the weekend to earn some money. That's fine. I don't know. I don't know if it's the same if they have a coffee shop, so they work in the coffee shop and earn a little bit of money, like here in Canada. Is that okay?
هلا for 16 to 18 years old, yes, they are it's eligible for them to
Okay.
attend work, yes. مثلا VTC, vocational training, or supervised work and safe space.
I
And
see.
they work shorter time than the adults, يعني rather than 8 hours, 4 hours or 6 hours with a break, lunch break or something like that.
I
Yes.
see. Okay. But you're saying the problem is when they're younger ones and they're working in hard jobs, long
Yes.
hours. So tell us more about those conditions that would worry you that you've seen.
هلا if they work, as I said, without يعني without supervision from their caregivers, or they work with strangers, and
Okay.
also if they work in the hard conditions, like in agriculture, they work under the sun, and the weather conditions is very hard, and they bring something heavy for them, and working with something that might hurt them, something chemical that affects his health uh, situation, or affect his health what we say
Yeah, yeah.
health conditions, yes.
Okay, yes.
Something affected them negatively, and if they face bullying or violence, or as I said, abuse, any kind of abuse.
Okay. And you said the majority is in agriculture. That's
Especially for refugees, yes.
it's
We
agriculture.
have seasons where all children drop out from school and they go to another place. يعني they displaced to the place that where they can find work.
I see. And so you would meet, how do you handle those cases with the families? Like, can you tell us how you would approach the family, how you handle it, and what is the outcome that you're looking to achieve?
هلا we used to talk with them. They are the most complicated cases because they don't have a fixed place to live, so we cannot engage them with the schools at that place. So most of the NGOs, and we have a يعني we have special program for them funded by UNICEF, like to have remote units for them to get informal education and to have like the basics skills.
Okay. So is it part of law in Jordan that a child has to go to school and receive an education up to a certain age?
Yes, up to 10th age, up to 10th grade. Yes.
10th grade, that's by law, you have to be understood.
Yes, it's a free and mandatory.
It's mandatory. Got it. Okay. Okay, so that gives us a better sense of the picture of the types of cases, and you talked about um child marriage, and when I spoke with some other practitioners from Egypt, and she also talked about that. Is that also, is it a big issue that you're struggling with in Jordan, or not so much?
Yes, at the first of the crisis, yes, it was a big issue because families had no money to to cover the needs of their girls, so they used to the child marriage was an alternative. And for the camps especially, they used to not to register the marriage papers. So when the government realized that it was a big issue, that there's a newborn children without birth certificates. So يعني at that time all the NGOs and the INGOs worked with the government to fix that issue, and now by law they cannot do that, and they forced the what we say, the sheikh, the one who's responsible to register the marriage, and it's not allowed for you to يعني to agree on that contract without registering it on the court. So it's
Okay.
now it's better, yeah.
It's better. Is
Yes.
that an issue within Jordanian population as well?
No, not that much.
Not that much. Okay.
Yes.
And so can you explain it? Because this is maybe people who watch it from the West may not understand. So you talked about the marriage being a convenience, like a financial convenience. Can you explain that? Can you tell us a little bit more about, you said when families cannot afford, they marry their girls. Why?
Yes.
Why would they do that?
Because at the first the financial support from the NGOs was not enough for the families, and honestly many people abused this need for those family, and they started requesting the child marriage from to ask to marry their girls. And sometimes some families, not only because of the financial issues, but at the first of the crisis they was strangers and they was afraid, and it's like a way to protect their girls. It's like to يعني to sorry. So to protect them, they was accepting the marriage.
So how does marrying them protect the girls?
Because they used to live in the tents, and in yes, there's no protection for those tents, and they was afraid because they are strangers and they know nothing about Jordan and the situation in Jordan. So maybe her husband can protect her rather than living with her family in open space.
Okay, so and so when you say protect, that's from violence?
No, from sexual abuse.
Oh, I see. So if she's married, then her husband would protect her in those
Yes,
situations.
so the responsibility will be transformed to her husband, not to her family.
Father.
And it's shame, like to be if she faced any sexual harassment or abuse, that will affect her chance to marry in the future. So yes, so they take it from the start and accept the marriage. Then
And the men, what ages would the men be?
most of them were very old, يعني, and I don't know if I allowed to say that. I don't. Let's say some of them were old, and she went as a second wife, not the first wife.
Okay. Okay, so multiple wives and
Yes,
got it.
yes,
So
yes.
so what I'm hearing is that the um, child marriages was out of um, done from fear or almost at a point of um, where in a way they're doing it to protect their children. So because when I heard from the other practitioners, they were saying that it's culturally acceptable and that's why it was done. But I'm hearing from you that it was out of necessity to protect their girls from abuse. Understood. Okay, got it. Um, so you've done this job for 14 years, and you've worked with a lot of families, a lot of these cases. So how do you define success? Like how do you know that you've succeeded? How is a like what's yeah what happens when you say, okay, this was a success?
هلا يعني the success that we touch from our work is is the impact of our interventions, like when we see the community begin reaching us to receive the services. Not, and we don't want to go and try to try to let them enroll their children in the programs. They come to the center and they themselves seek for these services. And also when we see the behavior change inside the community, some families start involving in the community committees, and they advocate for the child rights and expand the knowledge and experiences that they gained from the project with their peers, and start defending on the child rights and on the children inside their communities. And when they see a case, they directly volunteer to support those children.
That sounds great. So you're seeing people calling you, coming to you, and then it's spreading. The what
Yes.
they've learned is spreading, and they're helping others now in their community.
And they share the positive impact that they touched on their children, and they start saying that for their neighbors, their relatives, and they start advising others to re-enroll children to the school or to participate in the sessions inside the child-friendly spaces.
Can you tell us about a particular case that ended well? Without names, obviously, but something that you remember that where it ended well?
Yes. One of the cases that's left lasting impact on my life, before around 12 years, I worked in one of the governorate with the CBO, and we had child-friendly spaces project and activities inside that center. One day, one of the children came to the session, and he was selling bread. And I asked the facilitator about that children. She told me, he's attending irregular the sessions because he's working with his father on selling the bread. And that children was dropped out from the school for that was his third year. And in Jordan, in the law, after 3 years of dropping out, you lost your chance to re-enroll in the formal education, and then you go to non-formal education. I talked with that children, and he was excited to re-enroll in the school, but at that time his father refused to allow him to register in a public school. I and the facilitator decided to go to his father, and when we went there, he thought that we are from Family Protection Department. He claimed that he will allow him to go to school, but he cannot issue the official documents for him because that the father and the mother were separated, and the children stayed for 2 years in an orphan center. But unfortunately, because of the lack of the fund, that center cannot provide shelter and transportation. And the father also cannot offer this transportation for his child, so he dropped out. They left his academic record at that school. It was in Amman, in the Amman governorate, and the children from another governorate. So it was hard for, or he was not, let's say, interest to follow up this issue. So we told him, okay, we will issue his papers, and we will register him in the school. And we succeed in that, alhamdulillah. And in the coordination with the Ministry of Education, we re-enrolled him in the school. And we followed up with the headmaster, and he told us every day when we come to open the school, we found Omar. His name was Omar. We found Omar stayed outside waiting to start the school day, and he was very happy and very engaged with his peers. So this is the child I cannot forget until now, and I hope that we changed his life at that time.
So this is 12 years ago?
He was 8. Oh yes, 12 years
So
ago.
he's
Yes, he
around
was
20
8,
now.
and yes.
Yeah.
But I lost the connection with him and with the CBO, unfortunately. But I hope that he continued he was very, very active inside the school and was very happy. And I hope he could continue his journey.
Wonderful. That's a nice story. Um, is there do you have um within Jordan or within the refugee communities, is there anything that they didn't understand about what you do that confused them, or they thought, like, is there anything? I know we talked before we recorded that you asked me about what does misconception mean, but is there anything that the community does not understand that you want to clarify or explain about what you do and what your role is and what the purpose of your job is?
Yes. sometimes the families think that يعني because the fund come from foreign organizations, so they thought we are expanding new ideas inside the society. So they become afraid from participating in this programs. And with the time when we implement the activities, we often invite caregivers to attend such activities like positive parenting, to attend activities with open days with their children. They become more aware about the nature of our intervention. But yes, at first we face this fear from the community about the aim of these, or if we have hidden agenda behind our interventions.
So what would be new ideas that would scare them, that you'd say that they're worried? What would be the ideas that they would be scared from?
Yes, as I mentioned before, because there is some beliefs that child labor has positive impact on their
Okay.
children. Sometimes the violence, they believe that violence for against boys, that will make them يعني better than being soft with them. So they're afraid that when children become aware about their rights, they will still refuse. They will start to refuse their directions. They might. يعني let's say يعني they will not respond to their advices, and they will start drawing their lines alone.
So so it's interesting, Walaa, because if there is a is this a so the the belief, is this a cultural belief around violence with the boys that would make them stronger? Is this cultural?
Sorry?
The
Yes, yes,
it's part of,
yes,
it's a cultural belief.
yes, and now you hear that more. يعني many people say, إنه you are now soft parents. In the
Okay.
past, when we grow up, grow up when with the tough
Yeah, yeah.
behavior from our parents, and we are stronger than the children at these days.
It's interesting because it's the same here in Canada. They say, oh, we were hit, and we turned
Yes,
out okay, we're fine. So
yes.
how do you work with that? If it's because in Canada it's not considered part of the culture. You're saying it's a cultural it's part of the culture. How do you work with that when they're saying to you it's it's okay, it's I want to make sure my son grows up to be strong and not soft, and this is why I do it for his benefit. How do you work with that?
هلا we use the positive parenting sessions to change these beliefs. هلا we explain to them he might be stronger, but he will not be happy, and he don't share his emotions with you. You see the outside image, but you don't know what the hurt that you made for inside him. So we try to highlight these consequences and to learn them how to treat their children's emotion and how to support them to express themselves and how to support them to overcome their challenges without being tough, and to be like the trusted one that those children can share their issues with them rather than facing too many hard situations without sharing with anyone.
Okay. And so you doing this work, who provides the training for you? Where do you get your training? Is it yeah, just tell us a little bit about that, how you got to where you're at now.
هلا we have positive parenting manual. Most of the organizations working in that يعني there's a manual designed by the Child Protection Committee and the Child Protection Working Group, and there's some organizations adapt these materials to be more يعني more adaptable for the target group, and we have facilitators who trained on the they have background about training about first aid, psychosocial, psychological first aid, and psychologists sometimes, and they are the one who's responsible for providing such trainings. They it's a, يعني mainly it's a support group. هلا sometimes the parents themselves share their ideas when someone from of them share a challenge they face with their children, other parents share their experience with such challenges and they support each other. The facilitator leads or facilitates the discussion and provide any technical advices or any required advices that they fail to fill inside the session.
So you would get training, and this training is offered by, you said there's a committee that designs the policies and procedures?
No, it's the Child Protection Sub-Working Group. They have,
Yes.
we have, it's a standard, I guess it's a standard globally. So we use this manual and adapt it based on the context, and
Okay.
then we train the facilitators on that manual.
I see. Okay. And to in Jordan to do your job, what is the background that you need? What's the education or that you need to do your job?
هلا mainly no education requirement. My major in the university is computer information systems, but
Okay.
I worked from the
Yeah,
start in the humanitarian field. So it depends on the your experience and your passion at the first. When you start, we started as a volunteers, and then we entered this.
I see. Okay, so
Yes, so
so unlike us here, you have to have primarily a social work degree. In Jordan, you
no,
don't.
no, no.
Okay. It's passion and volunteering. I see. Okay.
Sometimes
Um,
your attitude and your beliefs that you accept this this يعني it's يعني you advocate for any of the issues inside the community and you believe in this in the child right, then your personality and attitude is positive and you can work with children. Then your experience هلا we started at the first we started training هلا at on our first 3 months we were not allowed to do anything, only watching inside
mhm,
watching the others inside the field and to learn, and then they started involved us in the activities. So it's a training يعني.
I see. Is it different for you said there are social workers in the family unit, that what do you call them again? I don't want to get the name wrong.
Family protection department.
From Family Protection Department. Are they social workers? They have to be social workers in in that department?
No, not all of them. They have
Okay.
focal points from Ministry of Social Development who are social workers.
I see. Okay. Um, that's interesting. Um, so this was fascinating, Walla, and thank you so much for agreeing to talk about child protection, what you've done, you know, your job, and from the Jordanian perspective. Is there anything else that I haven't asked that you want to share or talk about? Anything about your work or experiences that you think is important to share?
No, for me, I think we covered everything. I hope that I answered all of your questions and
Yeah,
I gave a
fantastic.
clear image
You did.
about the situation. Thank you.
You did. You did. And thank you so much for your time. It's um, always interesting to hear about from practitioners from different countries, especially about how the job that all of us do around the world, how it's done in your particular country and your place in the world. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.